The initial discovery of hearing loss can have a profound impact on children and families. Parents wonder what the future will hold. Will their child ever be able to communicate with extended family, neighbors, and friends without using sign language? How different might their child's life be? Will their son or daughter feel left out? Will there be lost opportunities? Each family's story is naturally unique, with different challenges. For Tommy, the discovery of hearing loss came at the end of an already difficult journey with childhood cancer.
I lost my hearing aids because I was diagnosed with neuroblastoma cancer, and I think I had like a medicine, and it made me go deaf, and yeah.
In Tessa's case, her parents learned she was deaf when she was a baby.
It's a little bit of a roller coaster. We weren't expecting it, and like I said, she's the only one in our family who's deaf, and so it was a loss for what your original plan was. It's a different plan. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just a different one, and coming to terms with that.
And for the family of premature twins Isaac and Isaiah, the diagnosis of hearing loss at the end of several weeks in intensive care was hard to take in for their mother. And the long appointments to determine what supports the boys might need were draining.
It was very tough coming home from those audiologist appointments, and they were telling you, one day, no, they didn't pass, a certain test, and yeah, they did good today. And so we just come home crying sometimes in the car, and I, calling my mom and, telling her I'm trying not to cry and explaining to her what happened. It was very, very tough.
Yet when families realize just how many resources and support systems exist for children with hearing loss today, the unsettled feelings begin to fade. For Tommy, Tessa, Isaac, and Isaiah, Child's Voice, a specialized listening and spoken language education program based in suburban Chicago, made a tremendous difference. Tommy was 3 when his parents, Trisha and Brian, realized he needed an intensive preschool program to help him catch up with peers.
We were thrust into the unknown. And I honestly credit my wife for doing an insane amount of research and just finding the best means of treatment and the best means of education from that point. And that's how we found Child's Voice. And we saw the energy, we saw happiness, we saw laughter. When we visited the classrooms, the kids were demonstrating what they were learning, saying hello, just seeing all of the methods the teachers were using. It was just remarkable. It was unbelievable.
Tessa received early intervention supports through Child's Voice when she was a toddler, then attended preschool and kindergarten at Child's Voice. In her early days at Child's Voice, Pauline was hopeful, but still had doubts and worries.
And I remember a group of us moms were sitting, waiting, because they were in early intervention, and just breaking down in tears. Because our kids weren't talking yet, and they were still behind at that point, and thinking, how are they going to get there in 2 years? And I remember when she graduated, I said the only problem is they taught her to talk too much. She doesn't stop talking now, which is not something I would have thought when we first got the diagnosis and when we first got to Child's Voice.
Isaac and Isaiah, now students in their local elementary school, equally surprised their mom with just how much they could achieve with the proper supports. They came to Child's Voice as toddlers, still learning how to listen with cochlear implants. By graduation day, they were eager to confidently deliver their graduation speeches.
My favorite thing about traveling were all my science class and activity we did. But a special memory I have about travelers is all the friends I made and teachers, especially Mr. Mitch.
My favorite thing about travelers was the fun crafts. A special memory I have about travelers is having Miss Kirsten as my teacher for 3 years. I am excited to look forward to gym activities in school.
That graduation day memory is still as vivid as ever for their mom.
Very, very emotional.
Yeah.
Very emotionally, when your kids come here, it's hard. They come with nothing, they can't talk, they can't communicate, they can't tell you what's wrong with them. And for them to be able to express themselves and just tell them their journey and who they are, Even, my sister-in-law came and she was crying. She's like, I never thought they would be able to go up there and do a speech like that, so it was very emotional, very proud.
Isaac and Isaiah were placed in an accelerated math and reading program at their local school. Like many Child's Voice graduates, today they are thriving academically and emotionally. What does Child's Voice provide? Our nonprofit program provides 3 key services: early intervention services, including in-home speech therapy, oral rehabilitation, toddler groups, and related supports for children from birth through age 3, an independent preschool through first grade program for children ages 3 to 8, and an audiology center with educational audiology services, diagnostic testing, evaluation, and device support, such as cochlear implant mapping. Child's Voice's executive director, Wendy Dieters, started with Child's Voice as a speech-language pathologist in the early intervention department in 2006, later became the department's coordinator, and was named executive director in 2022. Having grown up with deaf parents, Wendy has always been drawn to deaf education and helping young children with hearing loss.
That is what really inspires me to work with young children with hearing loss now to help them be able to strive for any kind of life that they want. I want families to feel secure and supported that not only has Child's Voice given them a great start to their child's education, but that they also always have a place to come back to. That we're not going anywhere. We're here to support families no matter where they are in their journeys. And that will always be here for them.
Children with hearing loss have access to many more advanced technologies today, including cochlear implants, state-of-the-art hearing aids, and a device called a Baha. These exquisite technological devices can restore hearing in ways never seen possible just decades ago. Yet the devices are still imperfect. That's where a program like Child's Voice can make an invaluable mark. Dr. Ted Embry, a cochlear implant surgeon at the University of Chicago, supports an intensive program like Child's Voice.
Have the easy job. Putting the implant in is a relatively quick surgery, but there's so much effort that goes into it after the surgery in terms of, becoming successful with it. So you have to use the implant, you have to be exposed to language, and you have to, have educational support to really kind of enhance the benefit with it. So you can't just put it in and do nothing with it. And so that's where I think a place like Child's Voice, where you have the educational resources in the classroom and the teachers and audiologists that know how to enhance the benefit with an implant. That's where kids, if they have the ability and the access to those resources, they can really take off.
Tessa's mom believes her daughter's experience at Child's Voice has set the tone and foundation for all the many successes to follow.
It was just as emotional because she wasn't leaving the home, but she was leaving a home. It was a home to us for multiple years. But listening to her little speech will bring tears. I don't even know if you know this, but I watch it every year.
Thank you, Miss Jeanette, Miss Sarah, Miss Terry, and all of my 1 and EI teachers.
A big part of the specialness of Child's Voice boils down to the staff. A highly specialized team of audiologists, teachers of the deaf, school counselors, speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, social workers, and early childhood experts. The Child's Voice team is united in a common mission: to empower children with hearing loss for a lifetime of success. The team helps students recognize how important it is to advocate for themselves, speaking up when they can't hear, asking for help with hearing devices, telling a friend to repeat a phrase. At Child's Voice, self-advocacy means embracing that you are still in control of your destiny.
And what did we learn? What's our phrase about our hearing loss?
I am the boss of my hearing loss.
Yeah.
It also helps a great deal that some of Child's Voice's educators have a personal experience with hearing loss. A teacher in our school, Mitch Olson, has profound hearing loss and was a student at Child's Voice not long after we opened in 1996. Mitch has been teaching at Child's Voice since 2013.
Well, I mean, Child's Voice has had such a big impact on my life and on the success I've had as a student and as an adult that I really just wanted to give back to the community that did so much for me. So initially I was going into general education teaching, but after I started working here in the summers, I realized how much I just loved this place specifically. And I loved the kids here. I loved the mission of Child's Voice.
Tommy benefited from the dedication of staff members like Mitch. A 10-year-old fifth grader, he's a standout in his local public school. He loves math, art, and acting. One of the things Tommy treasures most from Child's Voice is the community. He still meets with friends from the school and enjoys coming back for audiology services.
Yeah, it was really fun to understand that I'm not the only person that has, that's around my age that's had it. It's just how I look at it, that we're all just a big family, all the teachers, the kids, we are just together and we support each other. Yeah.
For Tommy's dad, Brian, Child's Voice provided a critical foundation for success at exactly the right time.
For the long term, Child's Voice has changed both Tommy's life and the life of ours. It's allowed him the opportunity to handle the demands of the mainstream classroom, and more importantly, it's given him an abundance of confidence to advocate for himself and advocate for his hearing in all different environments. It's been a game changer. Without Child's Voice, it's not knowing where we would be. And I think the Child's Voice prepared him tremendously to do well, to succeed.